This is Christopher John Bjerknes. It is August 29th, 2025. I'm going to be following up on my immediately previous video on the mass shooting by Westman and how it is an Israeli false flag attack and how I tied it to Anders Breivik, the Norwegian Zionist who mass murdered white Christian children in the name of preventing Muslim immigration into Norway. And his fanboy, Brenton Tarrant, and the Christ Church mass murders of Muslims, which emulated the mass slaughter of Muslim Amalekites by the Jewish doctor in Israel, Baruch Goldstein, who slaughtered helpless Muslims in their mosque at the Cave of the Patriarchs with an Israeli Galil assault rifle, and did it in the name of getting rid of Amalek. And I'm going to go much deeper into that today and talk about how it is kosher for Jews to slaughter Gentiles, including women, children, and infants. And as I mentioned in my previous presentation, the King's Torah, Torat HaMelech, and how it details how it is legal under Jewish law, halakha, to kill Gentiles, including infants. And Goldstein did this on Purim, which just so happened that year to fall also on a Muslim holiday when they were in their mosques praying. And this set the precedent for these kosher slaughter mass shootings, including in mosques and churches. So I'm going to be digging into that much deeper. And as I talked about, I'm going to get into how this prepped the way and provided a pretext for Israeli AI surveillance software and accumulating databases, especially on so-called anti-Semites, to be used against them ultimately to exterminate them. And how it is used, as I said, for a pretext for gun control and anti-gun legislation. And in all of those contexts, I'm going to be going over a little bit of the details of my previous video, which you should also watch after you watch this. And I'm going to be talking about how this Robin Westman shooting was a false flag, how he did it in the name of free Palestine, so that anti-Zionists would be stigmatized by his actions and would provide a pretext for government to clamp down on free speech and jail people who speak out in defense of the Palestinians, who are anti-Zionists and who expose Jewish supremacy and the Jewish infiltration of the American government for the benefit of Israel and against the best interests of Americans. And I'm going to show you how he had anti-Jewish inscriptions on his weapons and explain how this was a Zionist false flag. And that explains all the apparent contradictions in the way that he is being portrayed as if some kind of Nazi, when he was a very liberal communist, transgender liberal communist. I'm going to correlate it and connect it to the Christ Church New Zealand mosque shootings and how he inscribed his weapons magazines and his weapons with inscriptions about Christians fighting Muslims, because that's exactly what Judaism teaches, is that the Leviathan of Christianity and the behemoth of Islam should be pitted against one another and destroyed so that only Jews are left standing in the world, and that if Christians and Muslims were ever to unite it would be the end of the universe. These are the weapons from the Christchurch shooter. I talked about all this at the time that it occurred, and I'm going to go over it again. I'm going to talk about Goldstein and the mosque massacre on Purim. Goldstein, etc. Goldstein, and how he's related to Chabad and related to Yitzhak Ginsburg, the Chabad rabbi. I'm going to go over Columbine shooting and Klebold's Jewish heritage. Again, I'm going to go over how this is used as a pretext to implement AI surveillance and database gathering. Melania Trump's involved in that. I'm going to go over what Alex Jones said about the shooter's father and how it relates to CIA and other organizations. The Jewish mayor of Minneapolis calling for gun control, how gun control has been pushed forward by these false flag mass shootings in Australia at the Port Arthur massacre, the Christchurch mosque shooting in New Zealand, in Canada, and I think it was the Nova Scotia shootings. I'm going to talk about Nick Fuentes, Jared Lee Loughner, and how that was used as a push for gun control and what that involved. And I'm going to tie it all together and discuss what we can expect to be forthcoming as a result of all this, what all this was planned to provide a pretext for. You can find my books at CJBbooks.com. You can make contributions there to keep me going. If you want to see the rest of this presentation, get a paid account at CJBbooks.substack.com. You'll not only be able to watch this full presentation, but my previous full presentation on this, where I am very forthcoming with all the receipts and prove everything that I am alleging, and you'll see the full presentations of all of my work in the past and going forward ever since I established this Substack account. It is only $10 a month. For $10, you get to see all that previous work and all my forthcoming work. I'm the only one in the world who has this broad knowledge to be able to tie all these things together. I'm going to be assessing Robin Westman's weapons and other things that most people aren't capable of doing, and no one has the broad-based knowledge that I have to explain all this to you fully, so that you fully understand what is going on and what is the nature of these attacks. I'm now going to switch over and do that for my paid subscribers. Be sure and get a paid subscription at CJBbooks.substack.com.